All right. All right. I would like to call this recreation meeting to order on the 9th day of June at 7:06 p.m. Meeting notes, I apologize, I do not have them for you. I will get them out to you via email and we can vote on them next meeting for minutes. This is being streamed live on TCTV. So if anybody in the public would like to comment, they have the ability to comment on the TCTV YouTube page. And I will be monitoring that chat log. And if any questions come up, I will bring them up as I see them. So we'll go right into the agenda. First item on the agenda, COVID-19 update. As of Monday, we are in phase 2 of the COVID-19 pandemic, which opens up some things. Restaurants, athletics can get kind of together. They can practice, no more than 10 people, no scrimmages, no tournaments, no games, nothing like that. So playgrounds have opened up with limitations of no toys in the playground, no balls, no hula hoops, anything like that. Cleaning protocols, I think, are being discussed by the Board of Health, how they're going to keep those playgrounds somewhat clean, I guess. I don't know really how that's achievable. I haven't seen it anywhere in the state where anybody is sanitizing playgrounds on a daily basis. So that's to be determined, but they are open and it's pretty much up to the public now to maintain standards of 6 feet while they're in there if they can. Basic hand sanitation, all the things that should have been done before this pandemic. So they are open through the town. So I'm glad to see that. And I hope we proceed on to phase 3 quickly. Anything on COVID-19 from anybody? Besides, I've had enough of it. No. All right.
Not here.
All right. I will move on to the next agenda item, the Learn to Swim program for 2020. This one's a tough one because, yes, the state has opened beaches, and Jason, you can probably help me out with this a little bit. I know beaches are open. I know they're open for sunbathing. I know they're open for recreational swimming, but I think that's it. I don't think there's volleyball games, or I don't know the groupings. I don't know if it's 12 feet apart, 6 feet apart. I'm not sure on that part of it, but I know they're basically.
We don't have any standards.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Sorry, we don't have any standards at DCR pertaining to what you're talking about.
Yeah, nothing on Lake Denison beaches or anything, how they operate, or state beaches.
On state beaches. Yeah, no, there's nothing pertaining to that. They're actually still trying to get figured out. They're open.
Yeah.
But as far as any type of standards go, there really isn't anything there.
Okay. So our predicament's a little different because our predicament is it's a privately owned club, which I did reach out to the club, and they are open to having Learn to Swim on their property. From our point of view, it's a challenge because we don't have any guidelines. We don't have any standards. We can't socially distance at all with that program because it's Learn to Swim. There's close contact. There's contact between the counselors, the director, and the children because they're learning to swim. So they're in close contact. It's not a classroom setting. They're not old enough to do their own thing. There's going to be contact. In talking to the Board of Health extensively, there is no way we can safely social distance with that program. It's almost considered a contact sport. So I'd like to open dialogue on that. I don't know. This is a tough one because it's outdoors, it's a beach, but it's a Learn to Swim program where there's contact. So we can't safely social distance.
My opinion is we need to base all of our actions on what the Department of Public Health is planning to do. I don't know how we can do anything without their guidance in general.
I agree.
Did we actually get a?
I mean, if they're saying,
Is there actually a
I'm
green
sorry,
light?
Dan,
to
what was
have
that?
it?
I didn't hear.
No.
Did we actually?
I heard the question. Scott, did you hear the question?
No, I think you went over them.
Oh, did we? I mean, have we been? Is there a green light for us to have it? I mean, or is there anything that says we can't?
Just, the club says yes, but the Board of Health has some concerns
Right.
about social distancing, where it is a contact activity. Even though it's not, it's tough. That's why this one really spins my head, because it's learn to swim, and the contact will be there. The proximity can't be met. You know what I mean? So that's their concern. That's the Board of Health's concern. She's weighed in on it. She's been doing her homework, and we've had conversations of this, and it's a tough one. It's a tough one to call, and I think it falls on our shoulders to be, within state guidelines, and our job is to maintain those guidelines. So we have to act on pretty much what the Board of Health directs us to do. And, they didn't say no, they didn't say yes, but the question came up, how do you socially distance from these children?
All right.
When is the proposed start for this?
Last year was June 8th, which was Monday. So we're supposed to be in it by now, and it runs through August. But even,
I mean, I would like to hear from the coordinators of that program, their opinions on whether they feel they can do that job by socially distancing. I think if they can't, then I think that tells us what we need to know.
right. Because the only way I talked about this with the Board of Health, it would have to be a classroom setting. Pretty much, they couldn't have any contact with the children, which makes it a safety issue now, because you're teaching a little one to swim. What if they go under? What if they slip? What if they're out of reach? You know what I mean? And anybody, young or old, you can go under, as you know, Jason, in a heartbeat, and that's it. You know what I mean? And if they can't get there quick enough, because they have to be 6 feet away, that's a long time to
I
react.
would say,
Yeah.
though it's not my true opinion on the whole thing, I say just pull the plug on it. We pulled the plug on everything else.
And everybody's pulling plugs on. I mean, there's fall festivals that are getting.
As far as, like I said, my true feeling is that we should stop pulling plugs, but I'm not going to get into that, my personal feelings about the whole thing. But at this point, it is what it is.
Like I said, if we did run it and they're 6 feet away, and God forbid something happens, 6 feet's a long way in the water to get to that kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you can't
react
All
quick
they
enough.
need to do is take one gulp of water.
That's
One
it.
gulp of water, and that's it.
And I can't even imagine that scenario. And I don't want to imagine that scenario, but we have to look out for the liability of the town. And, it's a safety issue pretty much at the end of the day.
What are other towns doing? I know
Mhm.
Gardner's opening their pool.
Yeah, they're opening their pool, but I think that's not a learn to swim
There's no
program.
swim lessons.
No, I don't think there's any contact for that at all. I think it's almost like the beaches. They're open. That's it. They're open. You have to maintain distance. You can sunbathe, and that's it. Get out.
What age does this go up to?
I think they run it up to 5th or 6th grade, I believe. And they start them very young. I think they start K or first grade. They're very young. Because those are the ones that are learning to swim. You know what I mean? So they get that age group.
I mean, are we making a motion tonight on whether we keep this or not, Scott? Or are we just talking about it?
Yeah,
More
we have to
for
make.
public health.
I'd like to get a motion.
As they're going to.
Yeah, I'd like to get a motion on this, because we are out of time. You know what I mean? We're out of time. And unfortunately, phase 3 cannot start before June 29th. They will not start before June 29th. Good, bad, or indifference, it's not going to start till June 29th. And even then, we don't know what phase 3 looks like. We have no picture of social distancing in anything. Where every phase changes by the minute. This is a very fluid thing that they're doing. It changes by the day, literally. So I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to make a motion on the.
Well, then I make a motion that we cancel it for this year.
I second it.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to cancel, or I should say suspend the 2020 Learn to Swim program due to COVID-19's inability to safely social distance.
Yep. Second.
Yes.
All right, I'll take a roll call vote on that. Jason,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. I will send a letter to the Board of Health, the Board of Selectmen, the town administrators, and the director of swimming to let them know our decision, and also the club to let them know.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the next agenda item, pending sporting events at Gliman Waite. We canceled recreation softball, we canceled summer program. Two pending events that are still out there. There's North County softball that has 2 tournaments scheduled for later in July, and Narragansett Youth Baseball would like to use the new baseball field as a game field because the high school is in rough shape. So, same thing. We canceled softball. We canceled summer camp. We are in phase 2. Phase 3 does not start till June 29th. I think the softball tournaments were in July, early July, and baseball is starting now. They both have reached out to me, and I told them, being in phase 2, you are able to practice under the phase 2 guidelines, and they all have the guidelines, so they understand what can be done up there, what can't be done up there. No games, no tournaments, no scrimmages, 10 on the field, including coaches, and that's pretty much it. Our equipment cannot be used because we have no sanitation practices in place right now for any town equipment. So all facilities are to keep equipment secured until there's a sanitation process in place. So all town equipment, so basically the fields are there, and that's pretty much all that's up there. Concession stand has not even been inspected this year for food safety. And we are months and months away from being COVID-19 ready as a restaurant is up there. Because we have to follow the same food safety guidelines as a restaurant when it comes to social distancing, plexiglass, sanitation practices, everything. We have to, that's part of the social distancing reopening plan. So concession stand is officially closed, basically, because we have to come up with a plan to make that COVID-19 accessible when the new world order opens in phase 4. What's the new standard going to be? So that's going to be a process. So we haven't even had the Board of Health, because they can't even inspect it because they don't have anything to inspect because there's nothing there to inspect for COVID-19. So that's one of the big problems up there. And the second problem is phase 3, we still don't know what the gathering numbers will be. I heard 25, but that could change tomorrow. And that's 25 per playing surface. So, you talk about a tournament with 200-300 people. How do you socially distance 25 people per playing surface when you have multiple teams, multiple games in and out of the park? And no concession stand because we can't even open it.
So right now you can't play a game, right?
Bathroom because
There's no and it's another point I was gonna bring up. Porta potties have to be cleaned after every tournament, sanitized. There has to be sanitation throughout the day. It's a total disaster. I mean, the guidelines hopefully will straighten out by phase 4, but if we had the bathrooms open, they would have to sanitize those bathrooms hourly. It's crazy what the standards are right now. But we're not at that point right now, but porta potties fall into the same category. They would be responsible for sanitation. And it's, these tournaments rely on concession stands. Do they have the staff to sanitize the bathrooms during a tournament? I mean, it's mind-boggling what's going on, but we have to look at all that. And, I'm not worried about a COVID outbreak. Right. And I'm not worried about a COVID outbreak. I'm not worried about it coming back because all these people are at the fields and in the town. I think COVID has, the curve has been hit and we're flatlining it, but it's not that. It's just the social distancing part up there. How would we? I'm just at a loss of how would we even control that as a town, because it's ultimately our responsibility to control. If we allow an event, we have to police that social distancing and dugouts and equipment sharing and water bottles, and it's just a lot. It's a lot of time and effort that we just can't do right now. So it's just a lot to think about. But it's like I said, we reach phase 3 June 29th. We don't even know the standards, what we're supposed to be doing. So it's, how can we make a decision to allow a tournament that's going to happen in late June or baseball to play up there that we don't know? I just don't. That's why I want to open this one up. This one's a tough one. Same with swimming.
So there's two different things here, though. I feel we have the tournaments on one that we can discuss, and then I think youth baseball is a totally different thing to discuss.
Yep.
Depending on what youth baseball is looking to do up there, is it just practice?
No, they want to hold Babe Ruth games up there from other towns. It's like a travel.
All right, then it is the same thing.
It's pretty much it's just at a lower scale, but they'd have to rent a porta potty. Will they be able to maintain that porta potty? You know what I mean? Will they maintain the social distancing? I can't guarantee that. You know what I mean? And the Board of Health,
can't.
chimed in on this, and she's not worried about the number of people. It's the social distancing, the concession stand, that kind of stuff. Oh, Phil's in.
Is that me?
Nope.
The big P.
How we doing?
That's a good question. Is it you?
Is it really you?
It's me.
All right, there he is.
Yeah.
That's you,
Sorry
Phil.
about
Yes.
that. I got lost on the mountain bike or the road bike.
Outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
So Phil, we'll just get you up to speed real quick. We discussed the Learn to Swim 2020 and, what we thought and all the ins and outs and pros and cons and, where we're at, where we're going to be. And we made a decision to suspend the 2020 Learn to Swim program due to COVID-19 inability to safely socially distance. Because it's pretty much falls under the guidelines of a contact sport, and where it's a Learn to Swim program, if they have to stay 6 feet away and they're in the water and the child goes under or gets in danger, it's 6 feet in the water is too long of a way to react.
Right. Yep. I agree.
So we made the decision to suspend that, and I will send a letter out to all parties, Board of Selectmen, Board of Health, and the directors, and let them know our decision.
Okay.
And now we're on to events at Gliman Waite for the rest of this year. I know North County had 2 tournaments scheduled in July, and Narragansett Youth Baseball has asked to use the new field to play Babe Ruth almost travel baseball up there. So we're just going through that and trying to wrap our head around all the ins and outs and ups and downs of this whole social distancing phases. And some of the points that were brought up is it's not a issue of number of people up there. It's a matter of how do we socially distance safely up there during a large event, where many towns have canceled large events. Even in the fall, they've canceled. The Templeton Craft Fair has canceled. There's things that are just, the unknown is so big and so hard to grasp right now that we're just at a loss. And every phase is different. Every phase changes by the minute. So we're at the point now of just trying to figure out how or what do we do for the remainder of the year until we reach phase 4, the new normal. And I brought up the concession stand has not been inspected for food safety because it is not COVID-19 compliance right now. We cannot open that concession stand until we have a COVID-19 plan, just like a restaurant does.
Sure.
A plexiglass, social distancing, sanitation practices. And then the bathrooms was brought up because those have to be sanitized after every tournament, top to bottom. There's a lot of moving parts that we have to really scrub down to get to this. Anybody else? Anything on that one?
Yeah, my my issue, I guess, as much as these whole tournaments and baseball and stuff, I'd love to say we should just let it happen. I guess ultimately, if it's going to come down, if anything, God forbid anything does happen and it's going to come back on us, that's the tough thing. I don't know. Like I said, like you started this whole thing off with, I'm sick of this whole thing. I'm sick of this whole thing. At some point, life has to go on and go back to normal. And the longer we keep putting it off, and I don't mean us, I'm talking
Everybody.
as a country, we keep putting it off and live in fear, we're going to go nowhere. But that being said, at this point, I don't know. If I have such mixed feelings about it because, if baseball has decided to go ahead with their season and stuff, great, good for them. I'm glad somebody's doing it. But as far as using that baseball field, I'd love it, great. But the unfortunate thing is that, and I don't mean it in a bad way, that one panicked COVID person that's in COVID panic, something happens and it comes back on us. That's where it's going to be a problem.
And another point to that is traceability, because you would have to have, if say you held a tournament, you would have to have all the coaches have every person that attended that tournament.
Right.
If one person has symptoms of COVID-19, we have to get the paperwork to our Board of Health. Then they have to backpack and trace. It's huge. It's
Right.
Traceability on COVID-19 is unbelievable.
And if that's coming back on us as opposed to the person running the tournament, then I don't know about you. I don't think any of us.
Not 300 people to trace, who did they talk to? Who did they talk to before the tournament? Where did they go before the tournament? What town did they come from? It's traceability on this thing is huge. And that's the big thing right now on, if someone contracts symptoms of COVID-19, the traceability has to happen to make sure that they get everybody before in contact and surfaces. And it's just crazy.
But not only that, I think we or the town, right, would be responsible for compliance with the regulations, and we just don't have the staff to support that, right?
No, not at all.
Making sure there's only a certain amount of people there and all that kind of stuff. We just can't, I don't think
Nope.
we could support that. And I think it
Not
would be
that-
our responsibility, right? We couldn't pass that off on the person running the tournament, like Dan
Nope.
said.
No, it's not their responsibility.
agree.
It's a facilitator's responsibility in the state guidelines to maintain COVID-19 standards.
Right. And we just don't have the staffing to do that.
No. And how could you? I mean,
And I can tell you from my experience, parks, people are not socially distancing anyway.
No,
So they certainly
no.
wouldn't at any of these tournaments.
No,
Yeah, so
nope.
No, and I think our part to do that would be, like you said, getting the concession, the building and all that up to standards and stuff like that. And I see what these restaurants and stores and all those people are going through to do this stuff. And I don't think it's worth it for us to try to do that.
No, not right. I mean, we've got time, but it's going to take time. I mean,
Yep.
these stores and restaurants, like you said, Phil, I mean, a lot of them are shutting down because they can't afford to upgrade to COVID-19 standards.
I agree.
which is-
And yeah,
it's
and
sad.
that's sad. That's very sad. And then, the others are jumping through hoops to do it, to try
Yep.
to make it work. And it's costing them money. But they're the ones that are just going to fight it and just try to, dig through it.
Yep.
But
No,
even
it's
if we
tough.
punted on concessions, we couldn't be able to monitor how many people are there and how many are on each field and that kind of stuff too. The other stuff besides concessions, we couldn't do either.
Right. It's just the commingling. I mean, you're at 30 acres of park, 300 people. That's a lot of, how do you maintain? And we don't even know what the standards are going to be. They could be 15 per field. We don't know. You know what I mean? And where are all those people going to spread out? Those fans that come up, that travel long distances, mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and the uncles and the kids, and where are they going to go? You know what I
Let's
mean?
be honest, 90% of the people that show up there are ready to start mingling and talking to,
Right.
this,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
the percentage of people
Absolutely.
who are still scared to death is much smaller than the
Mhm.
ones that, we could be having this meeting on my back deck right now and I could care, and it wouldn't bother me.
Right.
It is what it is. But I know other people don't feel the same way and I respect that. So,
Mhm.
but it's, yeah. Yeah, I can't see that. I mean,
I think
if the
ultimately what
ultimate
you listen to
responsibility
is,
falls on us, I can't see that I guess we can say, yeah, go ahead and have tournaments and have, if the all, like I said, the ultimate responsibility is ours. I can't see that we can do that.
and I'm not comfortable opening anything up when you have medical professionals that are saying don't. I'm not a medical professional. So, when those people in that field start saying go for it, then fine, let's do it. But I'm not I'm not a medical professional. I'm not going to make a
Right.
medical decision.
Mhm.
Once there's a vaccine, that's a different story. But we're all open to it right now. Still, it's still
there
out
is.
there. It's still there. And like I said, to have the traceability back, say someone left that tournament and had symptoms of COVID-19, that's, our Board of Health is buried now. Never mind throwing 300 traceability cases out there. You know what I mean? I couldn't even imagine. And that comes back to us at the end of the day. So.
And again, I don't,
I
but this, when you, like you say, once there's a vaccine, people have to take that vaccine too.
Right.
know,
You can't force them.
How many people don't get the flu vaccine yearly?
Mhm.
It's going to be the same thing. So I can't see, I can't,
Yep.
can't see the government saying, mandating that everybody gets the vaccine, because I don't think they can do that, but whatever.
The Board of Health made a good point. She said at some point, people have to start taking responsibility. We can put signs, we can put sanitizer, we can have you wear a mask, but at some point, the human race has to smarten up and take responsibility and wash their hands and do the right thing, which should have been
go to
done.
Massachusetts State Parks.
Yep. It's I'm in the grocery stores every day and it's a nightmare. It's a total nightmare still to this day with all the safeguards in place, and it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Well, I'd like to almost cut some things off at the pass, because I just feel like we're on this road for a while, guys. And that is to make a motion to not permit any organized activity within our park system. It's not that they're closed, because like we said, the playgrounds and so on, but I don't know how else to approach a lot of this other than to just say no to all organized activities at our parks, never mind Gliman Waite, but everywhere.
Right.
I don't know if I have a second on that type of motion, but that's the motion I'm putting forward.
So we can word it, because we have to be pretty clear on this one, because it's going to encompass a lot of things. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of things. So we can make a motion to suspend all games, scrimmages, tournaments, organized contact sports, which under the state guidelines, it's basketball, football, baseball, softball, soccer, field hockey, lacrosse, hockey, and other sports where ordinary play puts players in direct contact or close proximity. So that's where
Basically, it's
swimming,
tennis and golf that you can play.
right, pretty much, yeah, and catch. So on all town fields until state has achieved phase 4 status of the Massachusetts reopening plan.
Decision's been made for us by what you just read.
Right. I mean, I think that's the clearest way to put it. I think that's where we need to be, because we need to encompass contact sports, because we have to be very clear of what they consider a contact sport at this time. So, like basketball, for instance, that's a tough one because social distancing or group capacity is 10, right? You can have 10 on a field or a playing surface. So is a pickup game of basketball eligible? Or is
I would say no, because you're within close contact of each other.
Right.
Mhm.
But it's strange because it's 10 or less. You're on the same playing surface, but they call that in their guidelines as a contact sport. So, we have to watch that and not us. I mean, the police department and the Board of Health are the authoritative force on this COVID-19, whatever they call it, policing or whatever they do. So they'd have to monitor that. And, the DPW director will not turn on those lights until he gets a green light. He will not turn on those lights, because once you turn those lights on, you're going to draw a lot of different people up there. So,
Yeah, it's an invitation.
right. So I respect his decision, and it is what it is. It stinks. A brand new basketball court with lights, and we can't do anything. But
Well,
it is what it is.
you could pull a permit for a protest and then have a protest basketball game up there, and then that would be acceptable.
Right, we'd have to turn on the lights then, but someone might break them, so we don't want to do that. So, all right, so I'll read that motion again, and then we'll get a second on that. So we have a motion on the floor to suspend all games, scrimmages, tournaments, organized contact sports, basketball, football, baseball, softball, soccer, field hockey, lacrosse, hockey, and other sports. Ordinary play puts players in direct contact or close proximity on all town fields, not until the state has achieved phase 4 status of the Massachusetts reopening plan. At this time, the board will meet to discuss the new normal guidelines set forth by the governor.
I second it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I need a roll call vote. Phil,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. So at some point, we're going to have to get together when I get more details from the Board of Health on how to make that concession stand COVID-19 safe, I guess I want to call it. And I know we've moved the picnic tables out 6 feet. We've done everything we can up there. There's nothing else we can do up there. I told Mr. Prentice, who usually puts the hula hoops and balls and stuff like that out, not to put them out this year, because that's part of the guidelines of phase 2 right now, is no toys or objects in the playground. That's the same with town equipment. We can't have anything out. Everything's that we own has to be put away till they give us a sanitation program to sanitize our equipment. But we don't have really anything out anyway. We don't leave stuff out to be used. So
No tetherball?
no tetherball. Yes, Mr. Prentice asked me, and I said, I think that's part of the no toys up there right now. So
You guys have all seen Monsters Inc., right? With the factory there, what they wore for suits and stuff. That's where
that's
this
what, yeah.
we're all going to be wearing those suits.
Unfortunately.
I'm not Dan.
So my blood pressure has gone through the roof since the start of this meeting, and I'm just sitting here just festering in it. So just
Mhm.
gonna let it go.
Yep. It's you know what it, and I'm constantly emailing the Board of Health, trying to get updates, trying to go on the state website. It's every day I go on, it's a different scenario. It's like, okay, the rules have changed in less than 24 hours. It's constantly changing. So I'm glad nobody knows, and that's why it's so hard to do anything, because we don't know. We don't know what phase 3 is going to look like in June 29th. We don't know what the new normal is going to be.
Hell, we don't know what the hell the virus looks like. So
Right.
I mean,
we never even
nobody
seen it.
knows
So
anything.
it's gone. It's invisible.
Yeah, nobody knows anything.
Nope. So it's tough because, you know, at the end of the day, the kids suffer on this one, and it's not fun to see these kids living in a bubble. It's not fun to see them struggling like they are, and you know, it's glimmer of hope when June 8th came, and I drove up to Gilman and I saw 15 cars sitting in the parking lot and kids playing and laughing and doing what they did. You know what I mean? It was nice to see it, but we still got to stay safe and do what we do.
Mhm.
But you know, it's kind of a blessing in disguise that we can maybe get some stuff done up there in this downtime. You know, the irrigation is getting bidded out right now, so there's quotes going out for that. The DPW director is overseeing that. The fence quotes have going out. There's 3 companies looking to replace all the fencing up there. Bathrooms, like I told you, Phil, I met with the building inspector up there. I met with DPW director up there. They're all on board. They're ready to go. This could all go to fall town meeting.
Yeah.
So that would be huge. I mean, a lot of stuff would happen in the fall, but the prep work's getting done. So we're getting there.
Does the
Comcast irrigation,
still have to go
there's 2
meeting?
quotes on irrigation right now. We need 1 more to get that project done. And that's the whole project. That's not just phase 1. That's the whole project. So they'd wrap in phase 1 and 2.
It's too bad it's been this long. I mean, that would have been something that should have been.
I
we
know.
should have jumped on that a while ago. I should have.
Yeah, the DPW has taken over that whole project, so he's overseeing that whole project up there now. So the maps are out there. I've been in contact. Rick Moulton gave me all the contacts, so we have all the contacts of who he was dealing with and where he left off. So we're dealing with who he left on. So he's given me all the contacts. He's reached out. I've had a couple companies reach out to me already, you know, prevailing wage and all that stuff. So that'll go into 30B, and the town administrator's office will, you know, once the quotes and stuff come in, we'll follow the 30B process and prevailing wage and all that good stuff, depending on the price of the projects.
Mm-hmm.
But we're getting there. It's definitely in Comcast business is running internet to that building for nothing. So they're going to run internet to that building. So there'll be Wi-Fi capabilities in that building. And it costs us $0 because Comcast business will do that if it's under $7,500 for construction, and it fell well under that guideline. So they do all the construction, they bring internet to that building, and then it's our responsibility to hook up service and provide Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great win for that building to have Wi-Fi in that park. And then the scoreboard will be delivered the week of July 2nd. Yep. So they got back on track with that. It'll be delivered, so we have to figure out the rest of it, the supports, the concrete, everything like that. But we'll get together on that when we can meet again up there and find out a location and all that stuff. But we'll just store it for now until we figure out what we're going to do with it. But it was quite the process to get that together, and it was very generous donation from them to give us that scoreboard. So, and then that's pretty much it. Like I said, I'll keep you updated once we get closer with projects up there from the DPW when he briefs me on what he has for quotes and all that stuff and where the projects stand. Like I said, I met with the building inspector up there, and you know, he hasn't been up there in a long time, and he was pretty impressed, pretty happy to see what was going on up there. So permit wise and ADA compliance, we're right up to where we need to be. So
Good.
You mentioned something that he had a few issues in the building or with the bathrooms or something.
Yep. The only thing with the bathroom is we have to come up to grade, 7% grade, I guess it is. Doesn't have to be railings or anything, but as long as you come up to a certain grade, and the DPW director will have all the specs on that. There doesn't have to be railings or a concrete pad. As long as you get grade up
Well,
to
we-
7%.
yeah, the plan was to do all aprons around the whole outside of that anyway, so.
Yep.
I was gonna bring it all up. Yeah,
Yep. He said, whatever you got to do to get it up to grade, safely. So it's 88. The doors are wide enough. The
yeah.
concession stand window was built correctly, so that's already ready to go.
So the plan would be to do concrete aprons, especially on that end of the building where people are gonna be going in and out of the bathrooms. We don't wanna have dirt or.
Right,
dust
right.
or anything like that tracked in there all the time, so.
Yeah.
it'd be concrete pads.
Yeah, definitely something that's stable. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Asphalt, concrete, whatever they got to do to make it. Concrete would be nice because it would wrap around that whole building.
Yep.
I did get on a sketch website, so I'll send you guys what I came up with for an interior sketch of that building based on what you had, Phil.
Mhm.
I built it off of yours, that preliminary sketch that you had. Pretty much the same setup that you had, just, now that we have all the equipment in there, this actually has all the places we can put the equipment and sinks and stuff like that. So I'll send it to you guys, look at it. And then when we meet up there, we can actually draw it. Because I'd like to tape off the floor plan so we can get the rest of the walls laid out in there, what we're gonna do. So we can tape off the floors and see where these walls, like we wanted the slop closet, we wanted the machine room, and then that one behind adjacent to the machine room, like a / storage room, office, whatever we wanted to put in there, where that old window was gonna be, the old concession stand window, that back wall.
Yep.
But the electrician, like I said, he's gone as far as he can go. We have to still finish what we can finish on the construction side, so
Yeah.
before he can go any further. And then plumbing, we're pretty close on that part of it too, so. Just a matter of getting all the things together up there and see what we can finish off. But at least we'll have Wi-Fi in that building, which would be huge, so when we look at our cameras, we can find a camera that best fits that system and go with that. And it's to offer Wi-Fi to the, people who use that park is big.
Yeah, like I said, I was kind of in hopes that, and I don't know if it can get pushed along or whatever expedited, but that the irrigation is huge. I mean, now would have been a perfect time while those fields can't be used.
Right.
That.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what we did. We had to do last year or the year before, whenever it was. We had to shut those soccer fields down because they were so dangerous to play on. So
Yep.
that, to
And they're
me,
at that point
I
again.
know what you're saying about the building, and trust me more than anybody.
Oh, I know.
on in here, and it's just kind of hanging over my head. And but those fields really, we need to do something with those fields.
Well, there's in the DPW budget, there's a line item that he has in his budget that hopefully doesn't get cut due to COVID-19, but there's a line item in there to $17,000 for weed and seed and, a contractor to go up there and take care of those fields. But that's kind of useless unless you have the irrigation to support it.
Exactly.
So you need the irrigation
Right.
first
That's
before
what
you
we've
put
been saying. Yep.
because you can put fertilizer on that all day long. There's no water up there. It's
Mhm.
dry. It's no shade. It's like a desert up there. So hopefully, the irrigation, like I said, phase 1 was approved at town meeting a year ago, 2 years ago. So that money is appropriated. It's ready to go. But now we just got to get the contractors up there, and we could make that happen tomorrow. With you get the contractors lined up, the money's there. The money's ready to be expended. We just have to have the contractors lined up in the 30B and follow that process with the TA's office and put it out to bid and go. The money's been appropriated, so.
So we've
We
got
have to-
2 bids. We need a third bid. We need one.
Right. We have 2.
So
We need
that's,
one more.
that's ultimately what we're waiting on, is that third bid, and then we can move forward.
Right, but then I submit the bids to the town administrator's office, and then they go into 30B, Mass
Right.
General Law, whatever they do. And it starts the bidding process and prevailing wage and all that stuff, and then they make the move from there. And then we approach, if we need some more funding, we possibly have to approach CPC for open space and recreation to finish off. Because, we appropriated $30,000 2 years ago. Equipment's gone up, labor prevailing wage has gone up, that's a big area to irrigate. So hopefully it doesn't jump too much, but I think we've got 30,000 of it that was appropriated at town meeting on annual town meeting. So that's a good start. That's a big number up there.
Mhm.
And looking at the parts list that he sent for the whole projects, it was like $31,000 just for parts. That's all the heads and pipes, and that's off the map.
That's for the whole project.
Now, whole project, that's all the heads, and I'll email you that. He just sent it to me. It's the map and the new updated map that Rick had put together, and a parts list.
So
from a
is
contractor.
part of the problem finding a third party to put in an estimate?
Yeah, yep. He's got emails out to 4 irrigation companies.
Okay.
So they're just waiting to come back to us.
I was say, because otherwise Scott Dill Irrigation could post a bid of
$1.
$300,000 to do it, and there's your third
Yep.
one,
There it is.
and you're not going to get it because you're much higher than everybody else. And if you do, then you just pay one of the other ones to do it for you, and you're
Right. Yep. That would be nice.
I would say there's some laws preventing that, but we
Yeah,
can
that's what
check in.
30B is designed, I guess, to do.
Laws are supposed to be broken. Sometimes you got to break laws to get shit done.
So, like I said, a lot of things behind the scenes that are starting to brew up there, and the DPW's director's words were, "I want to get this place back on the fire," because it's been forgotten for so long that it's time to finish it and get it done.
Oh,
up there.
yeah, let's hope that it gets done before the ground freezes in
We
the
can't do
winter.
anything again, right?
No.
Because then we don't do anything, and we're
That's
stuck for
not
another
how
year.
it works. We wait until it freezes, and then
Right.
get the
And
green
then we
light
do-
and start doing the project.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Just like when we pave the streets and then we fix the water lines after.
Right. Yeah, you take them all up. That's how
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
But hopefully the fencing, like you said, that's a big project up there. New backstops, irrigation, bathrooms, the concession stand. What else? The tennis courts. DPW filled in all the cracks. They brought their equipment up there and filled in all those craters that were in the tennis court. So at least it's safe. It's not the prettiest thing, but they're all
actually
filled in,
saw-
blown out.
A friend of mine posted a video. He was up there with his son, just practicing his shot or whatever. And I had to zoom in on it. I was like, is that the court in Baldwinville?
Oh, looks that good, huh?
Yeah, I haven't been up there in a while, so I didn't know that those cracks had even been fixed.
Yeah, I pulled his ear the other day. I said, can you just at least put something in there? I don't care if you put anything, just put something in it. Some child's going to get lost in there. I said, we got to fill those
It was
in.
like the Great Divide. It was just,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that got taken care of. So that's good.
I thought
then-
that was the line that separated Templeton and Winchendon.
We should put it, welcome to Winchendon, welcome to Templeton sign up there. Mr. Prentice, I don't know if you've been up there, but he's one of the neighbors that he's like the silent groundskeeper up there. He planted all those new flowers in the box by the sign. He puts flowers in there every year as you drive in. And then he planted the grass. If you go in front of the opposite, the little playground, the little parking lot, he cut in 20 feet worth of new grass along that guardrail. Waters it every day on his own. Yep. He takes pride. He raked out all the benches, all the dugouts. He just likes to keep busy up there. And I give him credit every time. He keeps an eye on the place. He's the tetherball man. He's the one that supplied the tetherball to us. So he putts around up there, picks up any rocks he finds that kids can throw around, and he does a good job up there. So I give him publicly credit for really going above and beyond up there and just keeping an eye on the place and
Without
doing the little things.
I'm surprised someone hasn't complained and said that we were wasting money up there on grass and stuff like that.
Nope, that's all privately donated
picking up
from a
rock.
very gracious neighbor.
That's
So
cool.
I give him public credit for that. He really keeps an eye on the place for us up there. But so, there is light at the end of this dark tunnel, I guess, and it's been a rough year, probably the roughest I've seen for sports and kids and just life in general. So it's been a battle, but we'll get through it, I hope. And, soccer, we're going to have to, at our next meeting, really, even though that's in September, where are we with that? You know what I mean? Because signups have to start soon.
Well, and you got to consider registrations. Yeah. Sign
Right.
ups. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, softball, we had to refund all those people. I don't want to have to do that again. It was not a hard process, but it was a process that had to be manually cut checks because that's how they wanted to do it. So I don't want to sign up 200 kids for soccer and then pull the plug. So
Yeah, I had to manually cut checks for our soccer club. I'm the
Yeah.
treasurer. It was like over 200
Yep,
checks I had to cut.
each one has to be cut, sent. Ugh.
Plus, you lose money because they take a little bit out of it for fees for the online service, right?
Absolutely, yep. So you lose a little bit of money on it. So that was a process that I don't want to have to do again. So next meeting, we're going to have to, I don't even know how we'd look out on that one. I don't even know, because she has to start signups end of July. You know what I mean? So I don't know if we do just a survey or something on Unipay that you don't pay, just register. And then if it does go live, then we can withdraw the money at that point.
Right.
But at least get registered so we have names and, because I think
Yeah, that's what they're.
even with rec
The Chair
basketball,
City
I
Lions, by the way, that's what they're doing.
just get a
Just
feel
so
for
you know,
what.
the Chair City Lions. I was just gonna say the Chair City Lions are doing exactly what you say, Scott.
Mhm.
Register and then don't pay.
Right.
That's just one example of something in the area that's how they're dealing with it. So
Yep.
I'm sure other places are doing that same thing.
And I fear rec basketball will be in the same boat. Because, you're right back into flu season, cold season, just.
I think middle
Yep.
school basketball will be in the same boat.
Right. All fall, winter sports are going to be close. I mean, they say the spike will come back around that time. So if the vaccine's not there, are we back to square one again?
We'll all see.
Yep. But
We'll all
that's
see.
something, yep. Because, I don't know the standards. I mean, I know indoor gyms can open up for youth sports in phase 2. So they are open for youth sports under 18, but it's very limited. You got to have certain guidelines in place, and none of these indoor facilities are even close to that point yet. So I don't think we'll be inside for a long time. And even when winter comes, are we going to be able to have a rec basketball program under COVID-19 guidelines, just like a tournament? How do we control that? How do we control sanitation? How do we control in and out, capacity of people? That's going to be a challenge, because like that, you get the grandparents and it's a social hour. So how do you control that and what the guideline is going to be then? So
Yeah.
we've still got a rough road ahead of us. And it's crazy to think that we have to start looking at fall and winter now to try to figure out what we're going to do. But
I'd like to think if at that point, I mean, if the kids are back in school and they've got things in place for the kids, using gyms and bathrooms and all that kind of stuff, I would like to think that we can do something with our programs also.
yeah, we'd have to mirror what they're doing
Yeah.
at some capacity. I know Tyler, he's playing basketball this winter at Keene State, and they're already telling him, you're going to have a different world than what you're used to for sanitation guidelines and, social distancing. And this, he hasn't even gone back to college yet, and they're already emailing him saying, this is going to be big changes for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's already happening, and it's crazy.
Yep. Social distancing on the basketball court, Jason. They're not going to have any. You're not going to be able to play defense.
No, it'd be zone defense only.
That's going to drive.
It's not how I coach.
No,
Definitely not how. That might be how the NBA is played these days, but it's not how I coach.
You have to teach
No.
them all to shoot 3-pointers.
Yeah,
Every
Yep.
shot.
it'll be nothing but a 3-point contest.
Yeah, exactly.
Hands tied
Right up your
behind
alley.
the
Yeah,
back.
y'all know how I feel about that, right? Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Oh, God.
So
What's going to be really interesting is doing the box out drills.
you have to take a shower every time you box out. Hold on, I got to sanitize you. Hold on.
Exactly. You just have like 6-foot bars on your back, so when you turn around, you just make sure, you know.
I want to see how Coach C is going to do the towel trick now.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, right.
That's not going to happen anymore. You won't be handing a
Not
towel off to your player, that's for sure.
it'll instead of it'll be a thing of hand sanitizer.
Yeah, it'll squirt you when you go out.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll be those wipes. It'll be a
Yep.
box of wipes.
There you go. Disposable wipes. Who do you covering? Here's your wipe.
Yep.
It'd be interesting.
Here's your wipe.
I'm glad we can joke about this because it's been
sad.
so sickening to watch all this.
Ugh.
You
Yeah.
gotta laugh
What the hell
because
else? What
there's
else? can
nothing
you
else
do?
we can do now. Nothing else we can do.
No.
Well, I'm kind of glad Joy didn't join us because she probably would have jumped through the computer screen and killed us all because you want to charge for swimming and now we just canceled it. So she would have killed us.
Right. Well, we are on television right now, so she might be watching, Scott.
Yep.
So, you
Joy
know.
was sorry. It was Jason's fault. He recommended this.
Yeah. No, it was Phil's fault. He wasn't there at the time. So.
Sorry, Joy.
Speaking of that, did I miss something? Are the lights all set up at Gliman?
They're set. They're just no meter to them yet.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
They're not powered up.
Sounded like they were all set and ready to be powered up, but
That's all we were waiting for is the inspection and the town to put their meter on it, and we could have flipped the switch because the timer's in place, the circuit breakers are in place, everything's there. There's just no power to the box.
oh, okay, okay.
So Andy's gonna have that inspected anyway, but it's just gonna be locked up. Everything will be shut off. They may turn on the playground light, but that's it. That's
Yeah.
that when it's on all the time, but the court lights won't be on. Unfortunately.
Because I like Dan was saying, I mean, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I mean, I'm looking at soccer. It's, that's over 2.5 months away. That stuff's got to go. It really does. I mean,
I know.
it really does. And I don't know, for us to jump through hoops and try to make that building compliant or whatever with the COVID-19 stuff. I mean, honestly, I mean, yeah, the bathrooms are going to be great when they're done. Trust me. But porta potties at that point are going to be easy to sanitize.
Right, exactly.
If
You hose them out.
that's what
Yeah.
we've got to do, I don't know.
Yeah. Because we're gonna have to
No, you're
have
right.
porta potties for soccer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how it's got to be an easy way. I hope.
And take care of sanitizing them. I
Yep.
don't know.
I mean, the concession stand, I think, is a matter of plexiglass on that window, on that serving window, that can be hung that you can serve from under, and just common social distancing marks. That's all we can do. There's nothing else really, and just have the sanitation process in place inside, sanitizing wipes, hand sanitizer, masks if you can't social distance within 6 feet, whatever the standards are. I mean, I don't think it's a huge project, but we got to have some kind of plan in place. That's all. So we can get a certificate to serve food
Sure.
up there.
Yep.
So I don't think it's a big project, but I think we can wrap it into the construction part of that process. Why we're doing that and why we're, going off a bid and hoping for CPC money to finish that project, roll that money into the COVID-19 upgrade. You know what I mean? Make it COVID-19 compliant. Whatever that may be at that time, who knows?
Right.
Because this will, once we get all the bids and we do all that stuff, it'll go before fall town meeting. So once it's approved, and hopefully it's approved at fall town meeting, all these upgrades up there, the money can be expended immediately. So construction could start right after fall town meeting. Based on 30B process and all this, everything's in place and the money's approved at town meeting. It could start right after that. Which would give us a couple months. If we start fall town meeting and work till we can't work anymore up there.
Mm-hmm.
Because the irrigation can go till, I guess, they get a frost. But, the best time to seed grass is in the fall. And what a better time to get the irrigation in and drop some seed and fertilizer. At least, he's already going to be behind on his 5-step program up there, but at least he can get something going up there.
Yeah.
He's got a seed cutter, whatever he's got to seed those fields or overseed them and water them. And that's another thing we have to look at is if this does get approved for fall town meeting, do we shut down that soccer field for a year to get it to grow again? Because you're going to need a good year to seed it, fertilize it, and water it and establish grass that's playable. You know what I mean? So are we a year out? But that's something we'll have to look at down the road. I don't think we'll have to close the whole thing. I think the high school field will be okay, but it's the other ones where the old baseball field was over to the new soccer field. The high school field is pretty rough shape.
Yeah.
It's actually gone down to pretty much just dirt patches now. There's not even any, I don't even think the weeds want to grow anymore. I think they've had enough. But that's something we'll look at, you know, if the buildings and grounds budget gets approved for that $17,000 for weed and seed, you know, he could get that going immediately. That's expendable right after this meeting coming up. This June 17th, I think, is that meeting where the budget is approved on the warrant. And if the town passes that budget for the whole town, that is part of his budget. So that could start immediately. But we have to circle back. We need irrigation first. We can't put an ounce of anything on that field until there's water. And the water wheel can't do it. Someone has to man that thing. So,
Right.
and it's very unreliable. So the irrigation has to go in. And like I said, we have the money. And I'm going to push again this week to get that third bid in so we can get that to the town administrator's office and start that process. Because once they do their process in town and town administrator's office, you know, we can proceed because the funds are there, but they have to do their part first.
Mhm.
And hopefully the contractor can get out and start it quickly while we're quiet up there. So I will push on that and I'll keep you updated as soon as I hear any numbers or if quotes have all come in, and I submit them to the DPW director and he'll take care of it at town hall with 30B. But that's about all I have. Anybody else got anything?
Nope.
No, I don't have anything.
I'm not here.
So I will like I said, I'll
I mean,
send a
I guess-
letter out to,
Quickly bring up that open gym will not be happening this summer. So I just want to put that out there.
nope. I noticed on the Narragansett website, on their sports page, they announced that there's no summer tournaments, activities until further notice till the state releases. So that's summer basketball, that's anything.
You know,
So everything's shut
the
down.
only thing good I can say is tomorrow's Ryan's first AAU practice. So even if
There
we
you
don't,
go.
if we don't play in a tournament, at least he's going to be practicing.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Good.
they're
There we go.
they're starting to come to life. I mean, Mass Elite's starting to come to life. They booked like 7 tournaments or something like that. So they're happening. It's just the problem is gyms. Like, where do they practice? They can't get into anywhere. These
Right.
big facilities are closed
Right.
still to this day. So, but all these tournaments are out of town. There are none in Massachusetts that I believe. They're all New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island. I don't think there's many tournaments in Massachusetts.
Right.
So they're pushing them all over the place. But it's funny, you go to New Hampshire and it's like COVID-19 never happened. Strange. No face masks.
They're
Play
figured
mini
out.
golf up there. It's like a different world. It's a different world up there.
Yep.
So we'll plan a meeting. I don't think we have anything now that we've decided what we're going to do for the remainder of this, pretty much this year, because phase 4 probably won't go live till July 18th. So that's the new normal. So whatever that may be, we can plan a meeting after that and kind of discuss the new normal and
I
what
think
that looks like.
Well, we have to anyway because of soccer season, as we
Right.
just discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So once they
like
release the new
July
normal,
19th, maybe we should have a meeting.
yep. Because that way we can set up Unipay to just take registrations, but don't charge anybody for now. And I think that may be our new normal for now until, who knows, you know what I mean? Until we figure out this whole mess, but it's definitely, I think it's safer for everybody because it's less work not to refund all those people, and people can still don't have to commit. You know what I mean? If they're still gun shy, they can, yeah, I want to sign up, but yeah, maybe I don't. You know what I mean? I don't want to pay. And I think just to get a barometer of who's going to be out there and who's going to play will help us. So
Sure.
Mhm.
that's what we'll get to after July. So we'll plan one right after July 18th and figure out, what the new normal is going to be if we're at that point. And, hopefully by then we'll have a better gauge of what soccer is going to look like. And like Phil said, we're going to have to mirror, once school does open again, we're going to have to mirror their standards for basketball, their policies of sanitation and exits and bathroom cleaning. And because we're going to have to abide by that. You know what I mean? We're going to have to follow their rules. It's their building. So we'll have to follow those rules.
So yeah, I would say do a meeting not too long after that date.
Right.
I'm on vacation the last week of July anyway, but so if we could do something sooner, would be good.
Okay.
And I don't know, I agree with Dan. I mean, are there laws prohibiting us from going up to Gilman and hanging out at the picnic tables, sitting apart from each other?
I think they were having a meeting on COVID-19 procedures. So I'll get that update for you to figure out what we can and cannot do in open. I know we can't go to town hall. We have to do Zoom. So, and we have to make it public access. So I don't know if I'll have to find out from the Board of Health and the town administrator's office if we can meet at Gilman abiding by the 6-foot rules. And if we can't maintain 6-foot distance, we wear a mask. And if any public does attend, they would have to be 6 feet or wear a mask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the safest thing we can do. That's the only thing I can think of.
If we can do a next meeting like that, I would rather, but
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've got a sheet here that Sydney left me to get me onto this computer, so I lucked out getting onto this thing. So
Just out of curiosity.
I'm with you, Phil. I hate Zoom.
I know.
God. Yeah.
Even
so-
though, Phil, if you're on vacation the last week of July and we have a meeting, you can always Zoom. So, I mean, there is that benefit.
Yeah,
Right.
From your
You can Zoom
vacation.
from the
From your
beach. Yep.
vacation.
Thanks a lot.
There's no excuse for missing a meeting anymore.
It's true.
Yep. Zoom anywhere. No, I will definitely check on that meeting law for that outdoor. And we're outdoors. I mean, if they're going to hold a town meeting outside, and a lot of towns are doing it, they're outside holding their annual town meetings, either in their cars or they're putting chairs 6 feet apart. If we can safely social distance or have a mask, I don't see why it would be an open meeting. The public was more than welcome to attend, but they'd have to follow the social distancing guidelines.
How much public attended tonight? Out of curiosity.
You're looking at it.
Okay.
They'll watch it after.
We're that popular, huh? All right.
Yep. They'll watch it after.
Yeah,
I'll get the emails after.
My wife pointed out the fact that I swore too, so.
Oh, we're gonna have to. It's live TV. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. We're G-rated, Dan. We're supposed to be G-rated.
I know.
It's like the social unrest. Those live newscasters that get attacked by these protesters, and they're just swearing up a storm and breaking things and knocking them over and everything else. So. Thank God we haven't got to that point yet. All right, so we'll plan that next meeting right after July 18th and see what the new normal is going to be.
Sounds good.
All right, so I'll keep you all up to date of what I come up with and the progress we're making up there, and hopefully I get that last irrigation bid in so the DPW director can turn them into the TA's office and start that process.
Yep.
Hopefully have water
Yep.
soon.
Does anybody know, is Chris still alive? Okay, there's his head.
Yeah.
I know. I just see the top of his baseball hat, and that's
Hey,
it.
he completely disappeared for a minute there.
I just
He
want to
does-
show off the logo.
I
That's
was gonna
it.
say, he doesn't show his face, he shows the logo. He's like that guy on, what's that Tim Allen show?
Yeah, it's like Tim Allen's neighbor, right?
Yeah, you can only see the
Yeah,
top of
the
his head.
fence.
Wilson.
Wilson.
Wilson, yeah, Wilson.
Wilson.
All right, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, third, yep.
Back in.
Nice
Wow,
seeing you
yeah,
guys.
that was quick.
All right, guys, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
right.
Hey, see you guys.
I
Good
know.
night.
Take it easy.